Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Chef JMC's Kitchen. Today we'll be making cream cheese and bacon pancakes, something that I really enjoyed making and eating, and I'm sure that you will too. So let's get started.
It's important to use a metric measuring scale while baking. If you use something that measures in fluid ounces, it could affect the end result, so be careful. These little details definitely matter. Here we have our dry ingredients. We have the baking soda, the baking powder, our sugars, and the flour. And now we're about to sift everything in together. Now we're going to sift the flour. We do this to remove any lumps from it that will keep it from baking properly. We also do it to blend in the baking soda, our salt, and our baking powder so that everything will be appropriately distributed amongst the whole mixture. Creaming is the process of incorporating sugar and the softened fat until it's soft and smooth, like cookie dough. And to those who love cookie dough, I highly recommend eating this separately. If you just make sure you leave enough for your pancakes. It can be a little addictive. The process of mixing batter and baking is to build the structure for what you're baking. Rhyme intended. We mix the milk, eggs, and flour to make sure that the pancakes will rise properly and have good texture. That's why it's important to make sure you don't overmix, because you'll be turning the clock back on your work. You'll break down that structure because the ingredients will be too well mixed in order to have that chemical effect that we need. Now, it's important to make sure that you properly mix everything. So sprinkle a portion of your flour into the bowl and then whisk well until it's fully incorporated, meaning that you don't see any more flour. If you leave lumps or anything like that behind, it's going to make the flour taste bitter and terrible. In the end, this is the sort of consistency that I'll be looking for, something thick that will fall off the ladle well. Grease your pan first and turn it on to high heat. I used butter in this case, and I like to make sure that my pan is slightly smoking to ensure that it's hot enough. If it's not hot, it will half bake and come out very sloppy. Taking a generous amount of batter, find the center of your pancake on the pan and pour it there. You can use the spoon to spread the batter gently. Just be careful, because if you're too rough, you can mess up the parts of the pancake that's already cooking on the bottom. Now we're going to add our bacon bits as soon as we have our batter settled on the pan, because we want to put them in before the pancake has too long to bake. That way, it'll have a chance to heat up the bacon and really let it settle in before we flip. It's also important to remember the golden rule with pancakes is that you don't flip them until the edges have bubbles on them. That shows that they're ready and they won't fall apart. Now that we're ready to flip, this is the color that I always go for when I'm making my pancakes. That perfect golden brown texture that just reminds you of home. That was so good. Let's watch this done the second time. I'm going to flip the pancakes over so that the bacon side has a chance to cook on the griddle. And that's going to really give it excellent presentation in the end. Because once you flip it, you want to see that golden brown texture and the bacon all complementing each other. And that's a perfect end result. Just flip and serve. The bacon and cream cheese pair well with the sugars and nutmeg. Be sure to savor these flavors and don't just wolf it all down.